And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hi, welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Melody, and this is my dad, and today we're reviewing The Phantom Society.
All right, The Phantom Society is a 2 or 4 player game. Think of it as a Ghostbusters style game where one person is the ghosts, the other person is the Ghostbusters. You are into this room trying to find the ghosts and figure out who they are. One person's trying to hide them from the other person. We'll take a look at it and be back. The house is put together. There's 2 boards that fit together like this. And then there are green rooms, red rooms, blue rooms, and white rooms. Each room has a different distinctive pattern. Each of these rooms, you'll see here that the board actually has holes in it that you can poke all the way through. And at the beginning of the game, you split the tiles evenly between the players, and then they place them on the board. And I guess that's supposed to be a whole strategic thing, and that's just a ridiculous waste of time. I just throw them out randomly. Because essentially, when both players are placing them out, it's pretty random anyway. So what you do is you do this. You're going to have 2 or 4 players. If it's a 2-player game, one person is the ghost, the other person's the hunter. Otherwise, if it's a 4-player game, each of the 2 ghost players gets 2 of the different colored ghosts, and then there's 2 hunters, etc. Then the hunters close their eyes, and it's time for the ghosts to hide. So for example, I have the white ghost must go under a white room, so I can put him here. Now, these ghosts barely fit in this thing. I mean, they are a tight fit. And I think you need to be really careful about which way you put them in, and you need to make sure they're flat so that when you put the tile back down, you can't tell that there's a ghost underneath it. So you'll do this, and putting a ghost under each one. So let's say maybe I put the green ghost here, and the white ghost there, and the blue ghost down here. Now, once you've hidden the ghost, you tell the ghost hunters to open their eyes, and then the game begins. Now, it works very easily. What you'll do on your turn, on the ghost turn, is they destroy a tile that's adjacent, diagonally or directly adjacent to any ghost they control. So since we have a ghost here, I could destroy any of these rooms. So I destroy the 6. Now, each of the rooms has a destroyed side and a non-destroyed side. And so I put the destroyed side in front of me. We just got 6 points as the ghosts. So now it's the hunter's turn. Now the hunter knows that there's a ghost in one of these spots because it's directly next to that. So the hunter thinks, all right, probably I would put it underneath a low 1. So he destroys this room here, which is a 1. And so it's destroyed. The ghost hunters also destroy rooms. And so I get that. So now it's my turn. And rather than do another one that's next to this one, boy, I've already forgot where I put my ghost. And this is one of the things of the game. You have to memorize where your ghosts are. So I have a ghost down here. And so I destroy this 6. That's another 6 points for me. So now we have 13 points. And then the ghost hunters look around and they say, okay, I'm going to stick with this one. He destroys here. Aha, found the ghost. This room is not destroyed. They've actually captured the ghost. And I can no longer use that ghost to capture rooms. Also, the ghost hunter has now basically eliminated the fact that there are any ghosts underneath any of the other white tiles because they found the white ghost. This will continue as tiles come off the board until the hero or the ghost hunters have found all the ghosts. At that point, the ghosts are going to total up the tiles that they have. They need to get a certain amount depending on the number of players. In a 2-player game, the ghosts need to do 50,000 points of damage. So this is 1, that's 10,000. So you need to get basically 50 points. And in a 4-player game, it's 45,000 points. Now you can also play a version of this game where you bid to see how much destruction you think you can do. And whoever bids the most is the person who controls the ghosts, and then they have to do that much destruction or they lose. I personally forget the whole 45,000 or 50,000 thing. You just simply play 2 times. Each person plays the ghosts once, and whoever scores more points as the ghosts is the winner. Alright, so taking a look at this game, what do you think of the Phantom Society?
I thought it was a lot of fun trying to cleverly hide your ghosts being strategic and trying to make them confused of where the ghost really is. I noticed it was harder to be the ghost than the hunters.
I think
it was
so.
fun anyway.
Now, we played this both as a 2-player game, just Melody and I, and we also played it as a 4-player game. Which of those do you prefer?
A 4-player game.
Really? See, I was going to say I thought the 2-player game was better because the 4-player game, you had to remember which ghosts were yours. You know, it's kind of funny. You have to remember where the 4 ghosts are.
But only
I kept forgetting all the time. You could ask her where my ghosts were. I even turned one over one time that was one of my ghosts.
Which is why I prefer 4 players. That way I can only have to remember 2.
Well, okay. Now, I think, and Melody mentioned that it's harder to beat a ghost, and I think that's definitely true. Because if you use any kind of logic at all, you have to really work hard to turn over ghosts. And obviously you're going for the 6s and the 5s, turning them over, destroying those rooms. But if you... You know, if you don't go for those 6s and 5s and turn over low numbers, you're taking the chance that they will just by accident find your ghost.
Yeah.
It's a very simple game. I think it takes 10 minutes maybe longer, I guess, if you're full 9. But you can play multiple times. And like I said, the best way I think to play is ghost versus human, and then you switch and see who gets the higher score. The whole bidding thing is a waste of time. It's just a lot faster to do that. The components are good for the most part.
Yeah. Ghosts had big heads.
Yeah, and my only problem with the components, like I said, is pushing those tokens in was really tight fit. Because you're covering them up anyway, I didn't see why they couldn't have made them smaller. I don't think they needed to fit in snugly at all. So that's kind of a bummer, but it does fit all in the box very nicely. The artwork is great. I think the art for each room is different, including the front and backs, and that's a cool mechanic. But it's light. I think of this as Minesweeper, the multiplayer game. What are your final thoughts?
It was a lot of fun. Can't wait to play it again.
Alrighty. Well, that's the Phantom Society from Yellow.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
There.